Part 4 is here. If you missed any of the previous lessons where we are cloning the Google homepage in order to train our HTML and CSS skills, go check them out. The links will be in the description. My name is Felipe Perin from Frontend Road, and my goal is to help you land your first job as a front-end developer. Not missing that much, not missing that much for real. With the image, we have here the icons on the search bar and of course the other icons here on our header. But overall, all the rest of the styles, they are almost ready. Let's then, just before we continue, commit everything as we have. Let me clear this up. Git status, just make sure, yes, they're both. Hit add here. And what we did so far, we adjusted footer, content, footer and content styles. That's mostly what we did. I'm already going to push this as well. Done. Now I can close this and we can continue working on our project. For that, we can start with the image, and I'm just going back to Google. I'm going to use their image, of course, so I just right click, copy image address, bring to our code, and here, instead of saying to do logo image, now we add an image. Source, the image from Google, of course. Remember also to give the alt attribute. Here I'm saying Google, and close this tag. Coming back to our page, let's refresh and see the result. Much bigger than what it's meant to be, right? Let's give them here then a bit of a different size. Maybe if we say that the width it be of 60%. Percent looks a bit better, but it's still quite bigger than the one from Google itself. Let's add here then around 40% or 45. I like 45. I'm going to add then this width for the image. And of course, we also saw this before, a spacing between the fields, so a margin bottom, in this case, of 20 pixels. It looks good to me. Let's add a class here to this image. So logo image, just logo. And inside the content logo, we'll paste these styles. We refresh now. Here we have it. Next, let's go to the header and start adding those icons that we found. So for here, let's come back to Google, inspect, and find here the A tag. What I want to look here, actually, it's the SVG. SVG is a very cool way of adding icons to our application as they're drawn directly on HTML. So we can just copy and paste them in our website and they work out of the box. For that, just right click the SVG, copy element. Let's bring this to our HTML, replace here the menu icon by the SVG. As you see here, there's a path, which is the drawing of this icon, and the image. We can now come to our page and refresh. The icon is here, of course, completely out of proportions, so let's fix that. Inspecting it, I'm coming to that SVG, and I'm going to set the width to, let's say, 32 pixels. It's still a bit big, so I'm going to reduce to 28. Seems closer to what we really want. But the color is different, and the color we need is this one. It's already here. See, 5F. Now, if we set this color, it just doesn't work out of the box because what we need to set for the SVG, it's the fill. Okay, so the fill now you see that the dots are grayish. So why does it work for Google here then color? Most likely, yeah, you already see here, fill equals current color. So they're saying that the fill of the icon, it's the color that is set with. In our case, we can directly set the fill to the color we want. Now let's bring this to our icon itself. And we are going to call this so class. You said this is a class from Google. We don't need it. And I'm going just to add it here, then our class. which will be menu icon. And inside our header here, so header, menu icon, these styles, up, these styles. This color, again, can be reused later on, so I'm going to add it here as a new color. Let's say color icon, and I'm already going to, here it is. Now, where is it? Where I added here for color icon. Refreshing our page, everything should remain the same. We still don't have the hover effect, that's true, but we're going to get it later. For now, let's add now this other picture. And this picture actually, instead of using mine or any random picture, what I added here was the logo of the front-end road. And we're going to choose this one for the profile picture. So let's get to it. For that, you already know the drill. We're going to add an image, the source being, in this case, overall assets, FA road logo, and out, let's get here profile picture, or just profile. Refresh, here it is, again, a bit out of proportion. What we need to do is the width. The width can be the same as the other one, don't you think? So if we set to this icon to be 28 pixels, technically this profile picture should also be 28 pixels. So they both have the same size. They're still a bit too together, too squished instead of being this apart. But let's start from here. So I'm going to add here then header. Instead of menu, I can start profile picture, and this width can be here, 28 pixels. Now, this property makes sense that they are always the same, right? So why don't we bring it here? So header icons width, not size, but width, 28 pixels. And now we can use this variable here. Makes more sense to not repeat ourselves. Remember about the drive principle. Don't repeat yourself. Coming back to our page, now if we refresh, I forgot what I forgot. I forgot to add a class here to our image. So profile picture. Of course, this style was not being applied. Now, yes, now it's working just fine. What we need to do is to give some spacing to it. How can we do some spacing? Using paddings or margins, whatever is best. Here, I think we're going to use some paddings, but to do that, we need to create another tag which will be encapsulating these two, as to not make the padding exactly on the image themselves. So let's create, it can be an A tag without an href, clicking like this. And I'm going to call this one then the menu icon and not the SVG. And inside this, of course, I'm going to put our SVG. It's a bit not well done here. Let me fix this. Okay, like this. And now the image the same. href. This one will be the class profile picture. And we're going to bring this one here. We also can remove this to do, and we are out of to dos. That's good, but we're still not done. Let's refresh our page and see how it goes. They work just fine, and now we have then our A tags here encapsulating them. If we try to add a margin, we could though. Let's say we add a margin of 0, 12 pixels. And the same, that's not, I think that's too much. Let's say 0, 6 pixels. And here the same margin, 0, 6 pixels. What is the problem? The problem is now I make a hover effect that Google has. For example, this one, it will not have this spacing between the icon and the background color. So let's just check this one out, for example, and set a background here. So background color to red. You see, definitely not what we want, right? Even if we set a border radius of 50%, it just doesn't work as expected. But if we set a padding of 6 pixels total, we start having first a bit more circle, and it has like a bit of the spacing that we want inside it. Of course, this is way off of what we want, but it's on the way there. So I'm refreshing here, and now we can continue working like correctly on this. First thing we're going to do is the width here. It will not be that most likely, but we're going to add then a padding, as we mentioned. And I think a padding of 6 pixels seems quite fair. But also, if we now refresh here, I'm going to put it a hover effect already. Let's do that. Menu icon, hover, background color. What is the background color? Which one Google uses? We can inspect, and if you want to set the hover state on an element, you can come here on the right, see this, hover here, and then you can choose which selected state, which pixel selector to use, in this case the hover. And now Google will emulate the hovering of this element, and we can see then the effects going over it. And now we see that the background color, technically it's this one. So we can set this background color here. Here, this would be the background color. Come back to our page here, refresh, and whenever I have, here we have it. Okay, now we forgot to add the border radius. So 50% to make it a circle, and also display flags. Why is that? So we can align the items to the center and also justify content just to make sure. As the icon, as of now, as you see, it's not completely centered, at least vertically. So if we refresh now, we see a much, much better effect. I still think that Google has a bit more of padding than what we defined. So maybe like 8 pixels or something. Yeah, it seems a bit more reasonable. So let's keep 8 pixels. And we can do the same for our profile icon. But we don't need to add all of this information. Okay, we don't need a hover or anything. So, well, it's not exactly as it's meant to be. Let's try to understand why. So I see here that we have the padding correctly, but it's acting weird, showing a lot of padding. We have here another class. We're repeating the class. We added the class to the A, and I forgot to remove from the image. If you notice that, good job, don't judge me. Now, if I refresh the page, the image is completely gone because probably don't have any width. So if I set the width 100%, now yes, the image is back here. And it looks fine to me, although it still misses this small hover effect here. I'm not going to do the tooltip. This is something that is mostly done with JavaScript, so it's something not HTML and CSS like. I'm going then just to add that small hover, which I will suppose it's the same as the one of the menu icon. So I could technically do header, menu icon, hover, and now add here a background color. This, come back, refresh our page. Oh, I forgot to add the image, sorry. Let me add here another icon, another style for the image, which will be what we said of with 100%, so the image takes the full space. Now, if refresh, the image is there. The hover is not there though. Why is that? Because wrong class again. So you see, need to pay a lot of attention sometimes to what we write, because these issues can really come up. And now, yes, it is there. A bit out of proportions, I have to say. My logo is not completely square, so we can fix that. And for that, we inspect until we understand exactly what can we do. So you see here that this icon is having a size of 44 by 44, and this one has a 44 by 48. And that's why it's not completely round. Now, why does this happen? Because of these 28 pixels here. If we set this image, for example, for 24 pixels, now it will take 24, 24, and this one has 44 pixels. And now it's not aligned to the center because I didn't align it, but the sizing is correct. So what I'm going to do, instead of setting this to 100%, what I'm going to do is calc header icons width. I'm going to even say size here, var this minus what? The padding that was added to this profile picture, which is, of course, 80 pixels. But we need to do 80 pixels on both sides. So technically we need to do here 16, and this would be, so technically we need a width of the size of our icons minus 16 and all of this in pixels. However, this header icon size currently is wrong and it's not being respected because of the padding itself. So I'm going to set this to 44, which is the currently being used one. I'm also going to make sure that the height is the same. And I'm going to change this actually to size because then it's both the height and the width. Here, size, size. And also I'm going to add this, the height here. If I refresh the page now, we have the image disappeared, this one completely blew out of proportions, and so on. It seems like a step back, and it is, but it's a step back so we can take 2 steps forward. I promise you. So let's fix our image and bring our image back. And this is mostly, yes, I miss here these pixels. If we refresh our page, our image should be back, and there it is. Okay, now why this size blew out of proportion? Because of course, we increased this 44 pixels. And we could create now here header icons padding, saying that this is 8 pixels, we said? Okay, 8 pixels. Add it to here. So let's do this in order to make it really generic. And what is going on? This size plus the padding, it's really breaking stuff out of proportion. So what we really want is that the width and this height, they are this size minus 2 times this size. And that's what we're going to do. Calc this one, the size that we want in the end, minus 2 times this one. We are going to do the same for the height, and also here the same on the profile picture. We refresh our page. Now our icons are back to their position and to their size correctly. You can see the images on the center and everything. Our hover also working perfectly. And that's quite nice. If you're wondering why there is so much repeated code, you are wondering right. We need to get rid of this. In the end, we didn't need to use the menu icon and the profile picture in a different way because the background hover it's the same. The profile here, like the profile picture, it has the padding, the border radius, the width, and the height, all the same as the menu icon. So what we could do is add it like this. Profile picture, remove this, and here the same. So we're going to give this same style for the profile picture as well. They both apply the same. And this one did is just for the profile picture, the only one that has an image inside. Technically speaking, this field only belongs to the menu icon. So I'm going to create one rule specifically for it, just here. So this field, it's only part indeed of the menu icon because there is no SVG inside the profile picture. I'm going to put it here maybe. Yes, seems makes more sense. Like this one was a specific one for the profile picture, this one is a specific style for the menu icon. Refresh now, everything should be the same, and it is, so that's good news.